Hello everyone, welcome to the Common Gamer Movie Show. My name is Deshaun, and today I am here to debate something. Now, Sonic the Hedgehog came out last week. I saw it. No, it came out a week before that. 2 weeks ago. Or was it a week ago? I saw it. Saw it with Seth. I put my review up. I liked it. Didn't think it was fantastic. Didn't think it was bad. I think Detective Pikachu was much better than it. So now I am here to speak my case. To just put it out there in the ethos. I never really gotten to why I think it's better, but I am here to get into that now. This is Sonic the Hedgehog versus Detective Pikachu. Now, to me, these are both good movies. I think these are both good movies. I think, in terms of the Alvin and the Chipmunk thing, which I call the Alvin and the Chipmunk thing. The Alvin and Chipmunk thing is when a normal human, it was when they take a character, a cartoon character, that in the context of a cartoon, interacting with normal people who are also cartoons makes sense, but then the studios decide, you know what, we're going to do that, but we're going to do it in the real world. And it's going to be like, ooh, and they're going to make all these gags and jokes about being in the real world, and how funny is that? And they did that with Alvin and the Chipmunk. I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was funny when I was a kid. Now I've realized that those movies are just terrible. They did the same thing with the Smurfs. They've done it with Roger. They've done it with damn it, what's that rabbit? That rabbit movie, Peter Rabbit. They've done this a billion times. They've done this a lot. And the best time I've ever seen it work was with Paddington. Best time I've ever seen it work. But Paddington was kind of different because the entire style of Paddington, the entire world of Paddington's kind of a cartoon, but it's like the nicest cartoon you've ever seen. It's like the kind of cartoon you want your kids to watch, kind of thing. It's like the kind of cartoon that if you scoffed at, you're an asshole. Like, that's just it. Like, if you scoff at this cartoon, you're kind of a prick, and we know what kind of person you are. That's how Paddington is. But Sonic did the thing that Alvin and the Chipmunks and the Smurfs did. Same thing. Hell, Peter Rabbit even had James Marsden in it, who's in the Sonic movies, So it's like, literally, they just took this guy who's literally done this before and put him over here. So, like I said, it's very similar. The difference is Sonic managed to put enough of it managed to take enough of the piss out of its premise, and it managed to have an interesting villain in, Jim Carrey's Robotnik, and it managed to embrace enough of the video game to at least make it stand out, to at least make me go, I will remember that. Unlike Alvin and the Chipmunks and the Smurfs and all those movies. So to me, and I will admit, the relationship between James Marsden and Sonic, while it has its problems, for the most part, is entertaining and endearing, and you like those two together. And for the most part, when Sonic's not annoying, he is very likable, and you do want to see more of him. So on that basis, an interesting villain that when he's not annoying, he is very entertaining. So a main protagonist who is CGI, not the best CGI, but after a while, you get used to it. And that's the thing. As someone who watches a lot of movies, who's watched a lot of things, I hold a lot of things to a standard, especially CGI creatures. After Rocket Raccoon, CGI creatures, I'm just like, dude, you gotta do better, man. You gotta do better. That raccoon looks real. He does not. But I digress. Sonic the Hedgehog was a good movie. I would have given it a 7. So I think I gave it a 6.5, but I would have given it a 7. I think it's a good movie. I think it has some great things in it. The action, sometimes the action beats don't make any sense. There are things that don't make sense at all, and if you think about it, it'll just blow your skull. There are shots that make no sense. There are multiple things in the movie that makes no sense, and there are multiple things in the movie that if you think about for a second, you're going to realize, I don't buy this whatsoever. It's the kind of movie that if you go into with childlike glee, and you don't think about it for a second, you can have a good time, but if you do think about it for a second, you're going to just bog yourself down. But other than that, Detective Pikachu to me, in comparison, is a great movie because it does world building. I mean, Detective Pikachu does world building. It tangibly makes you believe that Pokemon could be in the same world as people, and they give you the idea of how it would work, and for the most part, you go, yeah, that's probably how it would look. They'd be, everyone would have Pokemon for one, and you'd have a Pokemon depending on your personality. Like, And they'd be like, it'd be just like a petting zoo. And, you know, and they acknowledge the whole kind of thing in the community, in the nerd community, of the idea of that, you know, having Pokemon fight each other is a lot like dog fights, and that would be illegal, and how that's illegal here, and that's not a thing here. But the thing that Detective Pikachu did great was they put it in this kind of premise. The way they designed their world and the way they designed the story, this could take place in the actual Pokemon world with Ash Ketchum and everything, because this is a new town. And the way they set it up, all the Easter eggs, the design of the Pokemon, the way they made the Pokemon look, the character playing detective, Ryan Reynolds' voice in Pikachu was fun. Jaden Smith as the human. Now, I did have a bit of that element. The difference is that they just made me believe, that he, like, unlike Sonic, which there is nothing else on the earth like Sonic, and you have a hard time believing that people would be okay with Sonic if some weird blue thing just fell out of the sky, and you have a hard time believing that everyone would be just okay with this thing. Detective Pikachu built the world, explained it to you, filled it out, and kind of made it feel like all this stuff that's happening is normal. This is organically working together. The city, the powers, Ryan Reynolds' voices, Mewtwo, all these things come together greatly, and they respect the mythos. The Detective Pikachu could actually take place in the current mythos of Pokemon, and it would not even drop a beat. It'd just be a different place. Like, Ash Ketchum could show up in the sequel, and it would make sense. And that's what makes that. I just love the world building, the world they built, the way it looks, the way it works, the chemistry between the two characters. Even though it's gonna be a bit different now if they make a sequel, because Ryan Reynolds is back to being a human. But still, I dug all of that stuff. And like I said, and there are a couple things that don't make sense, but for the most part, it's entertaining. It's just highly entertaining and great world building. Seth gave it a 10, but I think that that's the things that Detective Pikachu does better than Sonic. I believe it more. I believe that this is happening. Like, I don't have to think about it and go, this makes no sense. There's a scene where Sonic's in a bar, and I'm just like, this makes absolutely, positively no sense why no one's freaking out about this giant-footed freaking blue thing sitting in the middle here. There's literally a thing where you don't see any lights when they pull up to this gas station, and then it just, all of a sudden there's a bar there. Just for no reason. And the thing is, Sonic ripped off, and then he ripped off the Quicksilver scene hard. So, to me, Detective Pikachu had a more original take. It actually had something going on, because Sonic was just a road trip movie, and it's like any road trip movie. There were Easter eggs galore. There were hints galore. There were interesting things going on. The thing that the character was trying to do. The villain had an interesting little arc. The villain had an interesting thing going on. You didn't even know who the villain was, and it had a nice little twist in the end that you didn't see coming. Sonic the Hedgehog is very straightforward. It is very much a kid's movie. Detective Pikachu is also a kid's movie, but it has so much more going on. While Sonic, the less you think about it, the better the movie is. So that's my thought on the comparison between the two movies. Right now, Sonic the Hedgehog is, aiming box office wise to make more money than Detective Pikachu. We don't know. With the whole, I think it's called coronavirus going on in China, it might hurt a lot of movies, so we don't know how much money it's gonna make. A lot of movies might be hurt by this virus going on, this epidemic. Well, it's not an epidemic yet, but it's pretty bad, so we just won't know yet. So, but I think that, I honestly do think that Detective Pikachu is a better movie than Sonic the Hedgehog, so that's just my opinion. Comment below, let me know what you think on this topic. Thank you guys for joining me on the Comic Game Movie Show. Please remember to like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.